If you have to choose between investing and buying a house, invest first if you have expensive debt, little emergency savings, or you may move within the next few years. Buy first if you have stable income, manageable debt, enough cash left after the purchase, and you expect to stay in the house for at least 7 to 10 years. The important part is not whether houses or investments are better. It is which option fits your numbers. Start with the financial foundation. If you have credit card debt charging 20% or 25%, do not rush to buy a house. That debt is already eating into your income, and a mortgage will add another large monthly commitment. Pay down expensive debt first, build an emergency fund, and make sure your monthly cash flow is positive. If you earn $3,000 a month and already spend $2,900, buying a house is probably going to make your finances tighter, not better. You also need to stop looking at the house price as the full cost. Suppose you find a $200,000 house and put down 10%, which is $20,000. You still have closing costs, insurance, taxes, maintenance, possible mortgage insurance, and repairs. Your actual monthly housing cost can be significantly higher than the mortgage principal and interest shown by a basic calculator. The CFPB specifically recommends including these additional costs when deciding whether a house is affordable. And you should not put your entire savings into the down payment. If you have $30,000 and use $25,000 to buy a house, leaving yourself with $5,000, you need to ask what happens when something goes wrong. A major repair can cost thousands of dollars. Homeowners are responsible for those repairs, while renters generally shift much of that risk to the landlord. Now look at the timeline. If you buy a house and move after 2 or 3 years, you may not come out ahead. Buying and selling involves transaction costs, taxes, commissions, and other fees. In the early years of a mortgage, a large portion of the payment can also go toward interest rather than reducing the loan balance. The CFPB warns that selling within the first few years can leave you with little or even less equity than you started with. If you expect to stay for 10 or 15 years, the calculation becomes much more favorable. You have more time to build equity, spread the transaction costs over a longer period, and benefit if the property appreciates. You also get more housing stability. Your landlord cannot decide to sell the property you live in if you own it. That stability has financial value, even though it does not appear on an investment statement. Now compare that with investing. Suppose you have $30,000 and decide not to buy the house. You could invest the $30,000 and leave it invested for 20 years. If it averaged 7% per year, it would grow to roughly $116,000 before taxes and fees. That 7% is an example, not a guaranteed return. The market can fall, sometimes severely, and you could have periods where your investment is worth less than what you put in. The house could also appreciate. If a $200,000 house increased by an average of 3% per year for 20 years, it would be worth roughly $361,000. Again, that is only an illustration. Housing returns vary by location and time, and ownership has costs that investments do not have in the same way. Research on housing also shows that the financial return from owning property is affected by maintenance, transaction costs, financing, taxes, and the value of the housing services you receive from living there. There is another reason buying can make sense: rent does not build ownership. If you rent for 20 years, you have paid for housing but you do not own the property. Home ownership allows part of your monthly payment to reduce the mortgage balance, creating equity over time. It can also protect you from some future rent increases because once the mortgage is paid off, you no longer have a mortgage payment, although taxes, insurance, and maintenance continue. But renting is not automatically financially stupid. If the house you want costs $2,000 a month to own after including the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance, while an equivalent rental costs $1,200, you have an $800 difference. If you invest that difference consistently, the renter can potentially build substantial wealth. The problem is that many people say they will invest the difference and then spend it instead. If you rent and invest, you actually have to invest. So here is the practical test. Buy a house when you have stable income, manageable debt, an emergency fund, enough money for the down payment and closing costs, and a realistic ability to handle repairs. Ideally, you should also expect to stay for at least 7 to 10 years. The CFPB specifically points out that buying becomes riskier when your employment is unstable or you may move within a few years. Invest first when buying would consume most of your savings, when you have expensive debt, when your income is unstable, when you are not sure where you want to live, or when renting is substantially cheaper than owning. You can invest while renting and buy later. You are not missing some once-in-a-lifetime financial deadline. For example, imagine you earn $4,000 a month, have $20,000 saved, no high-interest debt, and can save $800 every month. You might decide to invest $400 and put $400 toward a future house. After 3 years, that is $14,400 invested and $14,400 added to your house fund before returns. You are making progress on both goals instead of putting your entire financial life on hold for one purchase. The simple answer is this: if buying a house makes you financially comfortable and you plan to stay for many years, buying can be a good move. If buying would leave you broke, highly leveraged, and unable to invest or handle emergencies, keep renting and invest what you can. A house is not automatically an investment, and renting is not automatically throwing money away. The better decision is the one that leaves you with more financial stability after 5, 10, and 20 years, not the one that looks more impressive right now.